Okay, today's lesson is about rendering. Rendering in Autocad is a method to apply material properties to objects and make them look more realistic. So I'm going to use the gumball machine as the example, and I'm going to make the components look like they're made out of wood. So you complete the project just as you normally would, and then at the end you'll apply your material properties. So I'm going to use the cover sheet as my example. On the other drawings I won't bother to render, but on the cover sheet that's where I'm going to want to show the object in a rendered state. To do this, I'm going to double click into the viewport, and we need to do a couple of things. We go to View, Render, and we need to select some materials from the Materials Library. So I go down to Materials Library. Over here we can scroll through and find different materials that we want to use. Once we find something that we want to use, then we can import it over to this side. So if I want to look and see what wood teak looks like, then I can preview it here. That's what it would look like. And if I think I may want to use it, then I can import it over to this side. I've already got it over here, so it won't let me bring it over, but if I wanted to do dark red wood, I can preview it again and import it, and there it is. Okay, I've already got some things already imported here. Notice I've got glass, and I've also got wood. Actually, I don't have the one I want, I think, which is medium ash. So I'm going to preview that one. That one looks good for the gumball machine, so I'm going to import it. And so now I've got wood medium ash. If you didn't want any of these, you can either take them out, it doesn't matter, but you just won't use them later if you don't need them. So I'm going to say OK. Now what I need to do is to select the objects that are going to be rendered in that method. So I'm going to say View, Render, and go to Materials. And I'm going to use the wood medium ash, and I need to attach that to the objects. What I should do is make sure that I can't remember if I've put glass in here for the plexiglass, so I'm just going to have a quick look. So I'm going to cancel out of here, go and look on my layers. I don't believe I've got a plexiglass layer, so I will later on. No, I do have a plexiglass layer. Okay, for mine was called J for the plexiglass. Actually, I think it was called C. And I'm going to turn that off again just for right now because I want to make everything else the medium ash. So I'm going to turn off my plexiglass so that I can see everything else. And I go back up, go to View, go to Render, go to Materials. And now I select the material I want to use, and I'm going to say Attach. I select all the materials that I want to attach that material to. For simplicity, I'm just going to select everything here. Okay, and I don't know that I got the top, so I'll make sure I got that. I believe I've gotten everything. Do a crossing window to make sure. And then at the bottom it says Select Objects. Hit Enter. Brings up the window again. And now I can say OK. I don't see any change at this point. What I need to do now is go to View, Render, and then Render. This window comes up. I can accept everything as it is and say Render, and there it is. Our object is all one type of wood. What you might want to do is put different types of wood to different components. So I'm now going to undo the render view. Sorry, I won't undo it. I will go to View, Render, Materials. Let's make some of it be dark red. If I look at it, that may not be all that much different. How about the dark ash, just so that we'll be able to see a difference. So I'm going to attach that to this component, and this component here, and let's also do the cylinder. If I can get it. There we go. And now down at the bottom it still says Select Objects. I'm going to hit Enter and say OK. And then I need to redo my render. Say Render. Okay, and now I can see some differences and it makes it look pretty good. I can also make the plexiglass look like glass. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to turn on the plexiglass layer, which is layer C. Sorry, I didn't get it. For some reason it's not coming on. Let's go back out. Okay, sorry, I had to take a little break there. So to make the plexiglass look like glass, what we're going to do is to go to View, go to Render, go to Materials, select Glass, attach it. We're going to select the two pieces of glass, alright, and then we can hit Enter, say OK, and now when we render, we'll go to View, Render, Render, and notice that now it looks like there is two pieces of glass, and since it's glass, then they're translucent so we can see through them, and now we've got something that looks very much like an actual wooden object. I just zoomed out, and that changes it back to its flat shaded view. To put it back again, once I've got it exactly the way I want it, I can go to View, Render, and go to Render again, and say Render, and make sure that it looks the way I want it to look. I've also made a mistake in here that at some point I made the viewport hidden, right? We want to make it 2D wireframe. Okay, and I think it's actually out here. View. Don't want to hide. Okay, and see if we can get this thing to look correct. So we'll go to View, Shade, Render, and Render. Oh, it's still covering over here, but it's purely because at some point I had made the outer view a hidden line remove. So what I need to do is bring the title back to front, and that's fine. In order to plot this, if I was to go and plot this right now, it would not show as being rendered. What you need to do is, much like you've done in the past, right-click on the viewport itself. So I'm in Paper Space. I go to right-click on Properties, and then over in this window here, what to plot, make sure Shade Plot is rendered, and then it'll plot correctly. And you can go through and add different materials to your object. You may want to try some with different shades of wood. Put glass to the plexiglass. Maybe you want your gumballs to not look like they're wood. For mine, they look like they're wood right now. Maybe you want to put some other material to them and see how the whole thing looks. Alright, good luck.